And Mary Ann Monty can come back too if, when you're ready.
I'm here, I'm listening.
Okay, very good, thank you. And being recorded.
We're live now.
Very good, thank you. All right, welcome and thank you all for participating in tonight's special post-secondary education meeting. Today's Tuesday, June 8th, meeting starting now at 4:35. Pursuant to Governor McKee's Executive Order 20-46, this meeting is being held remotely. And there is a broadcast Zoom webinar being streamed live from the meeting. Note for the record that present at the meeting, myself, Chair Del Judas, Board of Education, Chair Cottom, Mr. Duffy, Senator Izzo, Mr. Mello, Ms. Green, and Ms. Monty by telephone, who does not appear on the screen. Also with us tonight is President Sanchez, President Hughes, Commissioner Gilkey, along with staff from the two institutions and the Commissioner's office. Not present this evening, Bishop Jeff Williams and our student representative, Mackenzie Lee from Rhode Island College. I do call the meeting to order, having confirmed that we do have a quorum. During this meeting, the council may seek to move into executive session. At that time, non-council members will be placed into a hold status and the webinar will be paused. We'll have our executive session discussion, and then the non-council members will be brought back into the session and the webinar will resume at that time. If I could, may I have a motion that the Council on Post-Secondary Education accept our agenda for this evening, June 8th meeting. Motion made by?
Hello.
Mr. Mello, seconded by?
Second, Green.
Ms. Green, thank you. Motion is approved. First item on our agenda is a discussion item.
Tim, you need to vote on that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Ron. A voice from above. All those in favor of accepting the agenda as proposed? All
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Stands passed. Thanks, Ron. All right, the first discussion item is our consideration of the council policy on COVID-19 vaccinations. We're going to move this discussion item forward. You've all received a copy of the proposed policy for your review. As a reminder, this policy, like all other council policies, are discussed at one meeting and then voted upon at a subsequent meeting. So tonight, Amy Grabowski, who's been leading the higher ed response coordination for COVID-19 from the beginning of the pandemic, is going to walk us through where we are with this policy. I'll tell you from my perspective, having talked to lots of folks, including Amy, on a regular basis through this whole pandemic and the institutions, our objective and our goal is to get everybody vaccinated. Across Rhode Island, across the higher ed, we want everybody vaccinated. Tonight, and able to inform our incoming students as quickly and as much lead time as possible, we want to communicate to our student body and the incoming class what that policy is. We are still going to continue conversations with our faculty, our staff, and the entire population across the campus on gaining as many vaccinations as possible. But tonight we're specifically speaking about the student body. With that, Amy, I hope I framed it okay for you. If you could take us through the discussion and the policy, please.
Great, thank you. Thank you for letting me share with you today the draft COVID-19 vaccination of students policy that you have. Tonight, we are asking the Council on Post-Secondary Education to consider this policy that requires students to be vaccinated prior to in-person learning. Within this policy, there are two exemptions for students, those with recognized medical exemptions and/or recognized religious accommodations. In alignment with the majority of the Rhode Island's institutions of higher ed at this time, this policy will not require faculty or staff. We strongly encourage faculty and staff to be vaccinated. And recently, Rhode Island College completed an informal survey, and of the respondents of faculty, over 90% of faculty and staff are committed to becoming vaccinated by the fall semester. As of today, there are over 470 colleges across the country that are requiring vaccination for students. In Rhode Island, 6 of the institutions of higher education have already stated that they will require vaccination. We now have available access to the COVID-19 vaccine in ample supply across here in the state. We know how difficult these last 15 months have been for our institutions during the COVID-19 pandemic, for students, faculty, and staff to try and conduct the delivery of higher education amongst the additional challenge to protect their communities. This policy will create a safer environment for our students, faculty, and staff. Each college has come prepared to review their implementation plans, as this policy will request Rhode Island College and the Community College of Rhode Island to take immediate steps to notify their student bodies that they will be required to be fully vaccinated in time for the fall semester. The policy allows flexibility to the colleges to enact the proper procedures, practices, requirements, and deadlines for this implementation. I'll now turn it over to Alix Ogden from CCRI to talk about their implementation plan.
Good afternoon, everyone. We really see this coming into a couple of different buckets. We have numerous ways that we speak to our students through email, video, social media. We've been doing that all through the pandemic, and is a regular practice of ours with any news coming to, about the college, and we're planning to continue to leverage those communications for the purposes of reaching our students to notify them of the need to get a vaccine. One of the tools that we have developed is this something called CC Weekly, which is a normed weekly messaging to students that's ongoing. We're going to use that as a regular way to continue to push the message. We have a good traffic at ccri.edu. We also are integrating both the messaging around the vaccine and, in fact, vaccination clinics with our admissions and enrollment processes. So that's going to start in June. And then we have updated our public health expectations, we are going to update our public health expectations policy, which is part of our student handbook at President's Council on the 15th of this month. I should tell you, we actually are updating our on the employee side too, but it's not related to mandatory vaccinations. So we're doing some monitoring. So we're gathering the data for students that are coming now. Just as a kind of a snapshot, we have about 650 students on campus in-person learning, and about 250 of them have provided us with evidence of being fully vaccinated, just to give you a sense of kind of, at least in a kind of where we are. We are actually also going to also survey our students and our faculty and staff to make sure, kind of get a better sense about kind of where they are, but also to figure out if there's the barriers that people are feeling, and if there's ways that we can overcome those. And then we'll do targeted follow-up with our students kind of throughout the enrollment process. If a student arrives without proof of being fully vaccinated, we're going to move them to remote learning. So they'll still be able to enroll, but we're going to have to work with them to construct a schedule that will be remote. I talked a little bit about the vaccination opportunities that we're presenting. We've already done 2 clinics on each of our 4 campuses in April and in May. And we have several upcoming, 6 of them or 7 of them upcoming in Providence and Warwick. We're also talking about adding some additional opportunities, potentially even in the 2 weeks leading up to the semester starting, having the vaccines available on the first week of school and that kind of thing. But those are in more of a planning process. These others are underway. And I can stop and take any questions or.
Any questions for CCRI at this point? Oh, please continue.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. And now Marie Wilkes from Rhode Island College will guide us through their plan.
Marie, you're on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. Some of the key elements that we're looking at to address, we had a very successful first vaccination clinic, which was held and began during our final exams week, where a lot of our students were still remote. So considering we had 111 turnout, which was sensational, and a lot of students would have participated as we had heard. We have already planned our second clinic, and that's booked for June 29th and July 20th. That'll be a Pfizer in consideration of 17-year-olds that may be coming to freshman year at Rhode Island College. So we've planned that ahead. We are involved in the osmosis program through the Department of Health, and we have secured, as of today, the ability to have vaccine in our clinic for follow-up or any concern where they'd be lacking vaccine. We also held a student focus group in late April, which was 9 students from different areas amongst the campus, from freshmen to seniors, and a grad student also, who we talked to them about their considerations for supportive mandate, and it was 100% supportive mandate. The Office of the Dean of Students was involved with that, as well as Division of Student Success, and it was nothing but positive endorsement. So we were very pleased to see students were really backing the mandate. As far as faculty union leaders, we also received in support from President Christensen a letter of support to mandate as well, with a recommendation for faculty and staff to be vaccinated. So it was to support student mandate vaccine. We also, again, plan on continuing a very aggressive testing on campus, which we were very successful with last year. We're using Binex now, which comes from Department of Health. And we're also offering PCR testing through Eastside Clinical Labs, which is done in health services. Students have the option, depending on symptoms, to either present to the asymptomatic or symptomatic clinics on campus. And that as well has been very productive. So our plans, we're limiting residential students on campus, currently 600 to 600 students from our 1,100 capacity. However, keep in mind that this is still in full discussion. And as we move forward, we're planning on increasing those numbers. As far as preparing for our fall return, many students living and visiting in our 02908 area, which is a very concerning area for positive cases and transmission. Mostly due to poor behavior on the part of some of those students. We are concerned about getting a good message out to them to mandate vaccine. So that'll be planned for early July, and getting emails out to them and getting them signed up for clinic as soon as possible, or late June, I should say. Also, these students, mostly our census is pretty much, most students will be returning to in-person classes, though we have a few remote and a few hybrid, but most are in person. So that would be our plan for fall of 21. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Rhode Island College? Thank you, Ms. Wilkins. I'll just reiterate that we did receive a letter, at least I as chair received, I'm not sure it went to the whole council, from the faculty at Rhode Island College in support of this policy, as Marie has indicated. So I just wanted to recognize receipt of that letter and thank the faculty for reaching out with that communication.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else on Rhode Island College's policy? No? Amy, anything else on your side?
Nope, that's it.
Great, so I'll open the floor to the council. If you have any other questions broadly on the policies as discussed. Mr. Duffy.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Obviously, we should do it. I would note that to avoid confusion, it'd be great if we could have a consistent set of policies for our public institutions. And I know there was talk here about the need to develop new procedures and practices. I would point you to the website of URI, who already has done this in great detail and posted it on the website, everything from the specific procedures for confirming vaccination and for claiming exemptions. So rather than reinventing the wheel, I would urge the two institutions just to adopt that same policy regime wholesale, so there's no misunderstanding or mixed messages to the public between our 3 public institutions.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Other questions or points to be made on the topic? Great. And again, again, the policy and procedures we'll discuss them here tonight. Oh, I will add, I did hear from Bishop Williams, who was unable to attend tonight's meeting due to another commitment. He wanted me to share a couple of points from his perspective. One is that he is fully vaccinated and encourages everybody, student, faculty, staff, to all get vaccinated as quickly as possible. He does have some concern and concerns using the term mandatory, particularly that we're requiring it of students, but not requiring it at this time of faculty and staff. And he'd like to have further discussion on that topic. And by the time we get to those topics, will be further discussed, I'm sure. And you also wanted to raise for the council to consider before we vote if there's any room in the policy for any type of a conscientious objector from the vaccination, and whether or not that's been considered either by these are my words now, not his. Has that been considered by the team looking at this and or the Department of Health? So Amy, I don't know if you want to address that now or if there's something you have to take for action.
Sure. So the specific question is on whether there's a third exemption for conscientious
Was that
objector.
at all considered, and has the Department of Health issued any guidance that might provide insight into that?
Sure, that was certainly considered in the discussions with the two institutions. But further, the Department of Health has issued guidance in that they support requiring mandatory vaccine, but not specifically on which exemptions. But if you do allow the conscientious objector, I think it was the input of the institutions and the team looking at this that allows really why have the requirement if you're going to allow folks to opt out.
Great. And I personally, speaking for myself, completely agree. I just wanted to raise the bishop's concerns as he raised them to me. So any other conversation or questions on the topic? No? Great. Thank you, Amy and team that have put so much time and work into this. And this will be voted upon at our next council meeting, go into effect at that point. Now the council will now seek to enter executive session. Non-council members will be placed in a hold status. When the council executive session concludes, we'll return to open status and the meeting host will release the hold, allowing other attendees to rejoin the meeting and allow the Zoom webinar feature to come back into effect. If there's one topic in executive session, I would expect I could go anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour. I really can't put an accurate gauge on it. We'll check back in periodically if you want for the release to see when we're coming back in. Let's see, may I have a motion that the Council on Post-Secondary Education enter into executive session for the following item. Discussion regarding President Hughes' contract renewal pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 4246 5A1. Motion made by
So moved.
Mello.
Ms. Green, seconded by Mr. Mello. Can I have all in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion stands
Tim?
passed. I will,
Nope.
yes,
Please
Ron.
vote for the record.
Note for the record. I'm sorry, you want me to, by the note that we did, please note that President Hughes has been notified of her right to have this discussion take place in open session and that no objection to proceeding in executive session was received. Was that the call, Ron?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. All right, with that, Jill, I'm going to ask that you could move us to executive session, please, and cease the webinar. Just be another minute or two.
Tammy,
Yep.
I can't move the remaining attendees.
Okay, I'm working on it. Yeah, I see that too. Mr. Chair, we're just having a little technical difficulty. We need a couple more minutes, please.
No problem. Tammy, if the problem can't be resolved, should we all log out and log back in and come in one at a time into the room again? Or what?
No, we're still working on it.
Working on it.
Thank you.
Okay, we're all set.
Tammy, is that the cue that we're back up?
Yes, the webinar is back on. The meeting is unlocked.
Great. Thank you. Welcome back. We're rejoining our public portion of the meeting and confirm that we're back in open session. With that, may I have a motion that the Council on Post-Secondary Education seal the minutes of this evening's executive session? Motion made by
So moved.
Ms. Green, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Monty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Stands approved. Thank you. Additional action item, may I have a motion that the Council on Post-Secondary Education approve the renewal of President Hughes's employment contract and authorizes its chair to negotiate and execute that contract on behalf of the council as discussed in executive session. Motion made by
Green?
Ms. Green.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion and just explain a little bit of the reasons why I'm making the motion. As the council knows, we've been undergoing a process of evaluating President Hughes's contract for the last several months, actually. In the process of doing so, we've talked to a cross-section of business leaders and students and staff and faculty and even people who have left the college in an effort to really understand and analyze President Hughes's leadership. We received consistent, enthusiastic support of President Hughes and her leadership team. And that includes interviewing and talking to people that were not solicited by anyone at the college. The things that we hear and I heard consistently were that she's mission-driven, mission-focused. We also see the results in the data and the dramatic improvements made at the college during her leadership. She's again, we kept hearing she's a transformational, innovative leader. She's nationally recognized. And so I look forward to working with President Hughes in her next term to continue this change.
Thank you, Ms. Green. And a motion is on the floor and seconded by Ms. Monty.
Yes, thank you, Chair Del Giudice. I'd like to also second this motion. In addition to Council Green, I also interviewed several candidates or several external folks involved in her leadership, including business leaders, students and faculty, and can second a resounding sense of support and enthusiasm for her leadership at the college. The term change agent was used several times, and I would further look for her in this next renewal to continue to reach out to those constituencies and beyond in a shared leadership structure with her leadership team. So I strongly second this.
Thank you, Ms. Monty. Mr. Mello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd also like to second the motion, and I too am looking forward to 3 more years of President Hughes' strong leadership and continued advancement of CCRI, recognizing she has many partners and stakeholders in this important work of educating the young people of our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mello. Any other seconds? Mr. Duffy.
Yes, to the extent we need more seconds, I'd be happy to second this motion. I support it. I think Megan's done an admirable job in a very difficult situation, which We all have to recognize these have not been easy years, but there've been very good results in the outcome with students. And I think it's a time we need continuity, and I look forward to continuing the progress.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Chair Cottam, did you raise your hand there? I'm sorry.
Yes, I would like to second the motion as well. I want to give President Hughes credit for the advancement that has been made by the college during her term. I know that this is shared with the administration and faculty in making tremendous progress on behalf of students to prepare them for a bright future. I think one of the ways this is recognized is through what others say. And I think very proudly, she can take credit for leading the charge to the 2-year College of the Year designation a year ago. There are a number of successes during her tenure that has really transformed the college. I'm looking forward to her continuing that leadership in the form of a shared leadership with other administrators and faculty at the college as well.
Thank you, Chair Cottam. And I'll just add my voice, as I have so many times, that the transformational leadership that President Hughes has provided at CCRI, again, has been nationally and locally recognized numerous times. And we just codified the Promise program. We just celebrated commencement of the college and the recent PTech commencement with high school students receiving their associate's degree. All programs and direct results of President Hughes's leadership that I'm very, very enthusiastic to support that continued leadership. So with that, there's a motion on the floor that has been seconded. Any additional conversation or comment on the motion? No? Ms. Crowley, if you call the roll, please.
Chair Del Judas,
Yes.
Ms. Barbara Cottam,
Yes.
Mr. Dennis Duffy,
Yes.
Ms. Rochelle Green,
Yes.
Senator Thomas Izzo,
Yes.
Mr. Michael Mello,
Yes.
Ms. Marianne Monty.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Owen, Ms. Crowley. And that's a unanimous yes, a unanimous vote to support the continued leadership of Megan Hughes at CCRI. Thank you, Madam President, for the great work you're doing, and look forward to partnering with you as that continues.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Really happy with the work we've been able to do over the last 5.5 years, and understand we have a whole lot more work to do, and look forward to doing the work. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. It's a fabulous motion to have stand approved. And with that, that concludes our meeting this evening. Our next meeting of the council is our regularly scheduled meeting, which will be on Wednesday, June 23rd. I do believe that that meeting will be in person at Rhode Island College, but stand by for more details. The staff at Rhode Island College has been fabulous to work with, just working out a few last minute things to make sure we can accommodate the live meeting there. Thanks again for your participation. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Stands passed. Thank you all, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.